What's up? It's been a while. Let's just jump straight into it. You see right in front of you, the future starts here. Students who made their Common App earlier, you're going to be now seeing that you can't log in anymore. It's offline since yesterday. And the reason why is they're prepping for the actual application to release on August 1st. If you've made any initial inputs into the previous application, most of it's gonna get deleted now. So you should have received a notice to screenshot your answers, etc. And then when it opens up August 1st, you're gonna have to refill it back in. This is the calm before the storm. Let's get it. The next is gonna be FAFSA. I'm going to provide the links to all of these, by the way. I'm trying to just give a quick shout out to things that parents and students should be aware of at this point or should want to consider looking into. And then I'll provide the links below to go deeper, especially for FAFSA here. I'm not really an expert when it comes to financial aid. But yeah, for the most part, there's some pretty significant changes being made this year. One of the big changes I've noticed is that they made the questions a lot easier to answer, or out of 108 questions, now it's 36. So I think it's more for accessibility, feasibility, easiness of filling out. They also have a different definition or a different term besides EFC. They changed it. It's now called Student Aid Index. So there's that. And then they have something about multiple children attending colleges. So this is, I honestly think, a big deal for parents, families who are sending more than one child simultaneously to a college on financial aid. You should read into this. I don't think it's great news. One of the viewers, super grateful, he's the real MVP, was on my UC California GPA video, and he found the direct source. So you don't have to know what your GPA averages are to get into UC schools as a California high school student. So you don't have to sub to San Francisco Chronicle anymore, sorry, but you could just go direct. I'll provide the link to this below. You want to click on freshman, FR, you want to do the GPA by high school and then put in the name of your high school, and boom, it shows you all the average GPAs for each campus all the way up until the last year, 2022. Next thing here, this was a huge shout out to one of my moms who had a really sharp eye and found that for REAs this year, they're accommodating for USC's unique circumstance as an early action school. For those you don't know, USC has early action. And if you want to be considered for the trustees and the presidential scholarship, the merit scholarships for their schools, they ask that you submit an early action applications. There's exceptions to that depending on what major you're choosing, but for the vast majority of majors, you would have to apply early action to USC to be considered for the 2-year and the 4-year scholarship or the merit scholarship. That would conflict with the restrictive early action applications that typically don't allow you to additionally apply to early action private schools. But if you can see right here for Stanford, they do now have an allowance for specifically USC situation. Caltech is another one of those. Shout out to Mom, who you know who you are, who helped me realize this, and here I am. The other thing I wanted to point out besides the earlies, or that small little change for earlies, big change, I suppose, for a lot of the top tier applicants, is the GPA check or the GPA calculator. At this stage, now that the Common App is going to open up and UC apps are going to open up, you should know what your UC GPA is. If your high school counselor does not tell you what it is, just do the old pen and pencil method. Go on to this link right here and just follow the instructions in how to do your GPA conversion. Last but not least, it's going to be the Counselor J College tier list. It has been updated. It's still a work in progress. A couple of things I want to point out. There's tabs at the bottom. I've noticed that some students that are not in the United States, like let's say they're in China, they have to use a VPN and they can't see these things. I don't know what the deal with that is, but I'll try to figure something out on my end. Otherwise, I did update the GPA creep. I do think that it went upwards a little bit for each tier. And I've also included niches rankings. I do think that niche is starting to become more and more my preferred list just as a reference point. I added an S tier because I think that we have to start standing them out. They're particularly difficult schools to apply early to. And then I've started including, or I've got the help from students to include early applications, early decision 2 applications, also the merit deadlines. Now, if you scroll to the very right, we also managed to include ROTC. So if you want to check out whether a school has an ROTC program, you can do that. But yeah, that was all the updates I had. I'll try to continue to post more. I'm thinking about maybe trying to do some application fill outs, like go from page to page. I'm not sure if you guys would like that. But when August 1st kicks around, I'm going to try to pick up some more useful content because I want to show it as I'm doing it with my students. Thanks for being a viewer. And if there's anything you guys need or anything you guys want to suggest as content, just let me know. Otherwise, have a good one.